I became
this sober vet.
Don't live, don't live, don't live.
Our mission is to normalize sobriety with veterans who are using and abusing substances in a harmful, self-medicating way. All right, welcome world. We are here, TSV, episode 19. I'm your host, Joe Urick, and I'm joined by the multi-talented Dr. Teresa Thomas. What's up, Dr. T?
Hey, Joe.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm excited because I don't know if you saw in the news, but there were some missiles tossed in Cutter's way to our brothers and sisters in arms. But the Patriot missile did what it does and knocked them all out of the sky.
Sweet. All of them? Got them all.
88 represent, yes. So
that's what's up.
That's a beautiful thing.
That's what's up. That is.
Yep.
Golly.
So we're going to continue starting these episodes with the audience being therapized. So are you ready for this, Dr. T?
I'm ready.
All right. If you can tell the world about a few tips on finding a therapist that is right for you.
Okay, sure. You want to know what you need, right? Consider the issues you want to address, and what type of support works best for you. Structured or open-ended talk therapy. This kind of helps to narrow down the type of therapist or specialty you should look for. Also, you want to check compatibility. Make sure the therapist first is licensed and experienced in the areas that you care about. Pay attention to how you feel during the first session. Do you feel safe? Do you feel respected and heard? A strong connection is key for therapy to be effective. Okay. Yeah. And then ask questions before committing. A lot of therapists will do consultations beforehand and just use that time to ask questions and see if their style aligns with yours.
Out freaking standing, everyone. You have just been therapized. All right. I am super excited about today's guest. We have a Navy vet, Micah Gauthier, founder of Mental Restorations Foundation, which I'm super excited to learn more about. So Micah, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. So if you don't mind just kind of starting with why'd you choose the Navy? What was your MOS in the Navy? And just kind of start from the beginning.
So I chose the Navy mainly because I was a Navy brat. My dad was a sub sailor. He retired in 20 years, made Master Chief. Nice. And we both had to promise our grandfather, that we wouldn't go Army or Marine Corps. He was a World War II Army veteran, and he's like, you're not allowed to go those branches.
Okay.
So when I went into the Navy, I went Airedale, so aviation, hydraulics, and I had a very short career due to a back injury. But I also had some preconceived notions and ideas of what the Navy camaraderie should look like. And I tell you what, sub-sailors compared to Airedales, two different animals.
Oh, really? Ooh, in a bad way?
In a good way or a bad way?
The sub-sailors had a camaraderie that was unbreakable.
Gotcha.
And Airedales, it was there was a lot of knives in the back going on. I was kind of shocked.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
That sucks.
That is.
Bummer. So you did your initial enlistment, then got medical out, or?
Yeah, so I had an injury in basic training, a shoulder injury, and I was able to get through it. They put me in a medical hold, but I learned how to do push-ups on one arm. I got through it.
High speed.
Oh my gosh!
Because I did not want to have that conversation with Master Chief.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was at my first duty station up at Whidbey Island, Washington, they had us pushing up tail hooks on the plane. The hook that grabs the carrier's line.
Okay.
Well, they had us do it manually with your legs, and I hurt my back. And it hurt enough, and my wife was pregnant, and I said, I'm going to sick call. And the doctor said, well, you're not going to the carrier. And I said, well, that's kind of exciting. I'll be around for my kid's birth. And then he followed that up with, I don't think you're going to stay in the Navy. And,
wow.
I did not want to have that conversation with my dad, but I did. I tried to fight it. And at the
Mhm.
medical review hearing, they started making jokes at my expense, and
Mm.
it was kind of like the middle
Oh.
finger salute out the door.
Yeah, that's not good.
Oh, that's not
Oh,
good.
I'm
You
sorry.
wouldn't have got that in the Army.
Yeah.
No, I would have been in the Middle East, guaranteed.
Yeah, right. Nice. That's awesome. All right. So so no deployments, nothing. That kind of was
No.
your military career. All right. Well then,
Okay.
if you don't mind, we could jump right into what was your drug of choice? How did you get started in that?
So, drinking, that was my drug of choice.
Mm-hmm.
Alcohol was acceptable, and growing up in a military household, anti-drugs. One of the things that my dad did to me when I was younger that was a blessing, he would point at people that were either born with
Like,
handicaps, or they did have drug, residue. Um, and he would say that's what happens when you do drugs, but he never specified which ones. So I was
just
scared to get the
blanket. Yeah,
drugs.
just all drugs. Nice.
But alcohol was very acceptable, and on every military base, you go into an exchange, and the biggest section is the booze section.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I grew up in that, and I liked it. And I started drinking when I was about 14 years old. I started drinking alcoholically
Mm.
at 14.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So I also went through that that false belief system when, if you go into a career, you'll have to moderate, and so, well, the Navy's not a good place to do that.
Mm.
Or
Mhm.
you get married, or you have a kid, all those false things, and none of those things um, got me sober.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Maybe
Yeah.
very temporarily, but no sobriety. And it wasn't until I hit rock bottom in October. What was it, October 6th or October 7th, 1996, that I entered the
Mm.
rooms of AA.
Okay. Can you elaborate on what happened with the rock bottom?
Well, for years up to that point, I didn't have enough courage to actually commit suicide, but I wanted to.
Oh no.
Mm.
I did have a wife. I wasn't a very good husband. It wasn't physical abuse, but a lot of emotional abuse. I
Mhm.
didn't like my life. I wanted to be a father, but I hardly ever came home. And I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I was getting to
Yeah.
desperation, and I remember about 4 months prior to going into AA, I went to a doctor, and I said, this time I'm going to be honest when they asked me how much I drank.
Mm.
So when she
Mhm.
asked me, and I don't know where she was from, but she asked me in a real thick accent how much I drank. So being honest, I lied and told her about a half a case a day. And wherever she was from, oh, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. And I was just like,
Sounds
Oh.
Russian.
I don't know where she was from, but
Wow.
at any rate, that was my half-assed attempt
Mm.
to confide in
Uh-huh.
somebody. But it was just, and then towards the end of my drinking, I was only 25 years old, but I was passing blood through a lot of orifices that I shouldn't be passing blood through.
Oh no.
There was
Mm.
some fear there, and it was a good friend of mine, his birthday party, that I seen him hunched over a toilet puking up blood. And I said to myself, I
Mhm.
wish he would stop. It's killing him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, wait a minute,
Mm.
that's me.
Right.
And I
Mm.
made the phone call, and then I followed through with the action.
And what were you drinking at your height? Were you liquor, beer, mixing, or what?
I was a quantities drinker, not a quality drinker.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't, I could drink a case of beer, no problem. I liked 151,
Oh,
and
that's harsh.
in the highlights, I would drink that straight, and I could also chase it with Everclear. So it was
Mm.
pretty bad. At 2 years of sobriety, I went in to get checked for STDs. And the doctor calls me up, and he says, well, how much do you drink? And I was really proud to say, I don't drink.
Oh.
And he says, oh, well, then you might have AIDS. I go, well,
Oh,
why'd you ask me if I drank?
What?
right.
He goes, because this is all signs of a failing liver. But
Oh,
if you don't
Oh.
drink, and I said, well, let me tell you more about myself.
okay.
Mm,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And he said, oh, it's probably your drinking.
Oh.
And back then, you had to wait 3 days for those results. So I went in and got retested,
Uh-huh.
Jeez.
and it was 3 days of this.
Torture,
And he
right?
called,
Yes, that's
yeah.
torture.
Jeez.
So
Oh.
he calls me up and says, hey, good news is you don't have AIDS. And I'm like, great. And he goes, but you
Yes.
got a failing liver. And I'm great. And
I'll
he says,
take
We can
that,
fix
huh?
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you understand you die from a failing liver? I said, but it's not AIDS.
Right, right.
And a year later, it healed itself.
Oh,
So
Did it
great.
really? Congrats.
yeah,
Wow. Very nice.
yeah. But that's scary when you think about it. 2 years of sobriety.
Yes.
And it
That's
was
when I got the
still,
report that I had a failing liver.
Wow.
wow. Jeez. Now, were there any signs or anything, or like,
Not that I
just,
was aware of.
yeah.
I didn't know jaundice, nothing like that.
Mhm.
Wow.
But yeah, there's no way I could have went another 5 years.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild. Ooh, well, thank God you found that. Like that kind of
Absolutely.
worked
Yeah.
out very well. So, when you decided to quit, what did you cold turkey it? Did you just decide, boom, I'm done? Like, did you talk to someone, or what'd you do?
Well, I started going to the 12-step recovery group,
Okay.
and I bought it. They had a plan of action,
Mhm.
and one of the jokes is one of the guys to say, "Hey, when you got a good idea, give me a call." He says, "When you got a great idea, call me immediately."
Mhm.
And I felt real stupid at 25 years of age calling him up over. I got $50 in my pocket and I owe X of $30 or whatever. And what do I do? And he's like, pay the $30. Real simplistic stuff. But
Mhm.
looking back, I was so clueless.
Yeah.
And then it was growing up public, and I was willing.
Mhm.
So it's been a blessing, thank God. I prior to finding the 12-step recovery, I've tried to quit. I do 3 days and then congratulate myself because an alcoholic can't do that, right?
Right, yeah.
So
Mhm.
I'm not
That's
alcoholic, and I'm going to go congratulate myself by drinking alcoholically.
that's what we tell ourselves. Yeah, yep.
Right.
Attention veteran entrepreneurs, we've got a special announcement just for you. Marathon Business Advisory Services is proud to present a unique opportunity, a J-Dog franchise, veteran owned and ready for its next chapter. Whether you're looking to own your first business or grow through acquisition, this could be the perfect fit. And the best part, it's completely confidential, with no cost and no obligation to explore the opportunity. Just reach out to Jay Calandra at j.calandra@marathonbas.com to learn more. Support veteran success. Build your future. Let Marathon guide the way. So out of the steps, did you find any that were more rewarding, any more that were difficult, or any that really stuck with you?
The third step, I love that one. And, I really love the principles behind the steps, and, prompt to act without dispute. That's the definition of holiness. And, that's where I think the meat and potatoes are in the principles, but
Mhm.
it takes a little while to get acclimated to them.
Mm-hmm.
The first couple of years, I think it's just like, how do I not react the way I normally would
Right.
in
Yeah.
this new life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also getting to know who I was
Mhm.
and not having a clue of who I am,
Who you
Mm-hmm.
are. Yeah.
and having a goal of who I want to become.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's an exciting time, but it's also scary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What did your
absolutely.
support system look like, Micah?
Well, I got one of those sponsors,
Mhm.
and he was big about working with fellow men.
Okay.
And so, the group of us that had pretty young sobriety, we would do book studies and we would hang out together, and we'd also kind of experiment with things like if we wanted to go play pool and it happened to be in a bar, we
Mhm.
would go as a group
Okay.
Good.
and see how we would react
Mhm.
and
Mm-hmm.
what we would see at the bar. And it was entertaining,
Yeah.
but at times it was like, okay, this isn't the right atmosphere for me.
Right. I gotta go.
Gotta
Mm-hmm.
excuse ourselves. Um, but we just kept that close contact with one another.
So accountability partners, that's good. That's huge.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
right.
you definitely need a good community and a good support system. Now, when you quit, it sounded like you were drinking a lot. Did you have any like adverse reactions? Like, were you kind of detoxing on your own or anything?
So the hardest thing to get used to, and forgive me, was taking solid shits. And for that
Nice.
first month, man, that was so uncomfortable. I was like, "What is this?" Everything had been watered down.
Right. Yeah. That's
And
hilarious.
I can also remember, going into like a convenience store and going right up to the beer section
Mm-hmm.
and saying, "Wait a minute, I didn't come in for this," and then leaving with all these candy bars and all this other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got educated about the sugar quantity that's in alcohol
Yeah.
and what what I was really craving is that sugar and
Mhm.
sweets. But I didn't go through like DTs.
That's
It
good.
seemed like later in sobriety, I would come up with some shakes every now and
Mm,
then,
okay.
which was interesting. But that first couple of months of sweating out the stink
Yeah.
Yes.
and
Yep.
just kind of
Mm,
realizing that this was pretty nasty stuff.
yes. Yeah, it's a poison. So I'm just over 3 years sober, and I still struggle with the sugar thing. Like we were grocery shopping the other day, and I looked down, and they had these big packs of Mike and Nikes. They were 2 for $5. I'm like, hey, 2 for $5, dude. I housed both of those bags in one sitting. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I
Wow.
just gotta stop buying them. Like that's the problem.
Yeah, I'm bad about that. Yeah, I'll eat a whole case of cookies.
Mm.
Absolutely. Cool. So we got the 12 steps. You've been doing good. You're sober. So tell us about this foundation you started. What was the motivation for that and kind of how that became?
Well, as sobriety continued, and when I was in my teenage years, late teenage years of sobriety, there's a part in the literature um, that says we're supposed to become pillars of the community, and I felt that there was just more. I want to be out. There's more, and about that same time frame, we had. Uh, I forget which came first. Up there up in North Dakota, they had the pipeline going through
Mm,
Mm.
Indian reservations, and I was watching some of the video feeds, and I was like, I couldn't believe this. So I wanted to go. And my thinking was very naive. I was like, I can go up there and help the natives with sobriety. I had to promise my wife that I wouldn't go to the front lines
Mhm.
and I could do cleanup. And I was like, okay, yeah, we got a game plan. So I went up there, and it was like God acting the way he acts.
Mhm.
He put me in with all these cleaning crews that were all sober.
Wow.
nice. That's
And
awesome.
these natives had way more sobriety time than me. They introduced me to the red road of recovery, and I was just like, wow, this is just cool. And
What is that? I'm not
um,
familiar.
so it's a spin-off of AA's thing, but it's the red road of recovery. So you got a lot of terminology and a lot of the sayings from the elders,
Mhm.
and I'm not deeply versed in it, so I'm not the right person to get real involved in
Hmm.
that conversation.
Mhm.
But it was really impressive, meeting these people with 30, 40, 50 years of sobriety. And I'm just
Nice.
like, I'm learning rather than the other way around. It's like, Micah, just clean,
Yeah.
do what
Yeah.
you're told. It's
Nice.
back to the early days of sobriety kind of stuff.
Right.
Hmm.
But then when we came home, when I was back in Hawaii, we also had the big lava eruption.
Mm.
And it wiped out a lot of my friends got displaced. It took out their homes.
Oof.
So I was down in the epicenter almost daily, evacuating people, getting their
Wow.
belongings out.
Mhm.
It was pretty intense. But from all that, it was working in the community and realizing that there is more.
Uh-huh.
And I started studying some other things, and obviously, it wasn't the native niche that I was could impact, but there is a niche, and it's veterans.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
So let me
Amen.
go after veterans, and that's kind of bled over to our first responders. Um, and it's been interesting because what I do like about people that go into AA,
Mhm.
they get committed to this. Remember, you were willing to go to any length,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and they're familiar with these principles. With the veterans, a lot of them, I don't want anything to do with that crap,
Mm.
and so it's harder to like pinpoint them or to kind of pressure them to say, remember, you said you were willing to go to any length.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So I'm learning other tactics. And then I'm also learning that, like for me, my experience with sobriety is sobriety. There's
Hmm.
no drugs, there's no mind altering chemicals.
Right.
But I've got double purple hearters that TBI and injuries like that, and they're doing. I've seen them prior to and then during, where they're doing shroom
Mhm.
and marijuana
Yeah.
Hmm.
together and microdosing,
Right.
and they're far better. And it's just like, okay, I can't knock that either because
Right.
it is a form of recovery.
Mhm.
Right.
So I have to open my mind a little bit more. Some of the discouraging thing is seeing some of these veterans where they'll do ibogaine or the microdosing, but then they're they're smoking pot like it's like they're going to stop manufacturing. It's not going to be growing, and it's just like you're giving up one for the
For the
other,
other,
Right.
right,
but you're still not dealing with the trauma.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the trauma is probably what put us in uniform to begin with. It goes way back, way back.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
So our coping mechanisms, and so we're trying to break through some of these hurdles. And I'm
gotcha.
working with a lot of treatment centers too that are more all inclusive.
Okay.
That's great.
So the name of your foundation is Mental Restorations. So like what can you kind of walk us through? Do you have like monthly meetings or like what are the events?
Yeah, we're trying to get back into the we had some major growing pains, so we were doing monthly hikes, which I call limps,
Okay.
uh, and we try to do non-aggressive stuff that people can participate in.
Mhm.
And of course, we have some of the members that they're in phenomenal shape, and a clique will develop from them, and they'll go do more aggressive stuff. But we try to do the hikes. We try to do we were doing a lot of fishing outings, uh, but they're just expensive.
Mm.
And we are a true nonprofit. I really watch where income is coming from, and if there's strings attached that take away from our mission, we won't take those funds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Um, if it looks more like money laundering,
Mm,
we won't take those funds.
yeah,
And you've come
And
across
it's
that?
it's
Wow. Jeez.
yeah.
it's been an experience, and I never wanted to do a nonprofit. I was a private business owner at one point,
Uh-huh.
and all I heard about nonprofits is it's really easy to get in trouble without knowing you're getting in trouble. And
Okay.
so I looked to join other nonprofits that existed, and I looked into one that I found out that the CEOs were all there was like six of them making over 600,000 a year.
Damn.
I'm like, well, how much actually goes to the mission?
Uh-huh.
And only 3%.
Yep.
And that's legal. And I'm like, that doesn't seem
Jeez.
like it should be legal.
There's no integrity
Uh,
there.
so I X them off the list. We're not jumping in with them.
Mhm.
And then another one, this guy shows up on the island. He claimed to be a Navy SEAL, and it was a fishing something, veterans fishing thing. And I was just like, okay, great. I'm going to jump on board with this guy. And me and the Army Double Purple Harbor, we were out on the boat, and this guy that claims to be a SEAL goes, "Hoorah!" I'm like, wait a minute,
Uh-oh.
hoorah,
Oh,
Uh-oh.
what the heck?
right? So
Something's
we
not right.
discovered he was stolen valor,
Oh,
Oh,
no.
jeez.
and
Wow.
I was just like sick of looking, and I was just like, well, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Kind of
And
forged
my
away
wife,
yourself. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm learning by Braille.
Uh,
And we started right before COVID, and then we survived COVID, and I had some other things going on with a neighbor, and then we had a treasurer that her and an accomplice, they were embezzling, and I was just like,
Oh,
damn.
man, you're getting hit left
So
and right. Jeez.
yeah, so we survived those things, but
Wow.
it's definitely in the trenches.
Man.
Mhm.
I've never understood that, like embezzling, especially from something so small and something with such a positive mission. Like,
Yeah.
why?
Right.
That's crazy. I couldn't imagine. That's
Greed
insane.
will do that.
I guess
Yeah,
so.
all I can say is they should be thanking God that I am sober.
Yeah, seriously. Right.
Hear ya.
Wow. So what's your vision for the future of the Mental Restorations Foundation? Where do you see it in, say, 5 years?
Well, I think it's going to be a lot bigger. I think we're going to have satellite organizations, groups throughout the country.
Okay.
I just like you seen that video of me driving down in this old um, truck
Mm-hmm.
that I bought. So I drove it from Washington State down to Colorado, and the first stop was in Idaho with one of our members there, and then the next stop was in Montana, and they're only like 2 hours away from each other. It's like, let's set something up for next summer.
All right.
Let's do an event. And we've got members scattered. We even got members in other countries now. So
Awesome.
we have these things, but it's my lack of knowledge of how to set up satellite groups.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in a crash course on that right now. And the overall goal is to have be part of a very big umbrella where we have all-inclusive recovery. We have an atmosphere where we could have our dirty trades, because a lot of the trades bring us together. So that's where we got involved in restoring cars or boats, and some people are expert wood workers or welders. So we put like dirty trades in one area, we put clean trades in another area.
Mhm.
Okay.
Then we have a farming atmosphere where we have agriculture, and in Hawaii the ocean is also part of agriculture. So we bring all this stuff together. But we can have some good parties, and then also have on that same property a recovery center,
Okay.
all inclusive, and
Nice.
bring it all together.
Now in Hawaii, you're not in Hawaii still, right? You were in Hawaii previously?
No, we live in Hawaii.
Oh, cool.
We're on the big island of Hawaii.
Nice. Now, isn't there a lot of, is it opioids or what's the big addiction down there?
Ice is huge.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's huge out there. Pots, it grows. Geez, it seems like it grows wild. But they got everything. Everything goes through Hawaii too.
Mm,
It's shocking how much is there on the islands
hmm.
that has to come in.
Right. Yeah. Because
And
how's it
it's
getting
just like,
there? Like,
right,
yeah.
right.
Wow. Interesting. So I was, over the weekend, I was washing my car, and on this one little ledge in my garage, I used to hide beers as I was, because it would take me like 2 hours to wash my car because I'd see how many beers I could drink while washing. But this time I just had these bottles of water and I started stacking them up, and I had to stop and look. I was like, look how far I've come. I was like, instead of stacking beer cans and hiding it, I'm just stacking some high quality H2O. I was like so proud of myself for such a small thing. Is there anything that you kind of look at now being sober where you're like, damn, now I'm doing this instead of what I was doing that? Any like epiphanies like that?
Oh, the life has taken on new meaning. It's a trip, because
Nice.
at 3 years of sobriety, I was very much impressed. I couldn't believe, I went through a divorce my first year,
Oh, wow.
house going away, um, child custody stuff, jobs, all those things, and
Mhm.
it was very apparent that this way of life works,
Okay.
and these principles work. It got me through all that stuff, but I did not have like real super high expectations.
Okay.
Um, it's like I received some training on a trade by I think it was year 4. I actually opened up my own business,
Nice.
It's pretty
and
good.
I was able to sell that business, and that's what got me back to Hawaii from the
Okay.
sale of that business. But I never studied business or anything like that. It's just like blessings upon blessings. But I'm you know, after high school, I drank all my opportunities to go play college football.
Oh,
So that those college disappeared. Went into the Navy. When I was in the Navy, my dad said, take as many college classes as you can while you're in.
hmm.
And so I got one. I did one a history class. So afterwards, I tried to continue with the higher education. That didn't work out too well, and so I'm a college dropout. Um, but my senior year of high school, I was 18, so I could write my own notes.
Mm.
So I only had 2 classes at the end,
Oh,
and
wow.
I literally I failed my senior year, and I threatened the auto mech teacher.
Really?
He's just like, okay, I'm just going to give you a D, so you go away.
Wow.
Mm.
Nice.
So, but as life has continued and in service for others, now I have a relationship with some key figures, and it just blows my mind. So, like a couple weeks ago, I had set up a meeting where I've got people of the DOD, I've got mayors, I've got the governor's assistants,
Nice.
I've got PhDs from the University of Hawaii Hilo, all these people that are extremely well educated, well versed, and here I am in the midst, and
Yeah.
they're looking at me as a leader, and it's just like, how in the hell did I get here?
That's outstanding.
It's
Very
a
cool.
trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing that I've noticed with addicts. Once we make it on this side of sobriety, we kind of like redirect our focus and make whatever we want happen. And generally it's involved, like it revolves around helping others, which is exactly what you're doing in your case. And because you're on this positive path, the universe sees you and they're opening doors for you, making sure that you have your way to get your mission across because there's a potential unlimited amount of people that you could help just by being a light and being an example. So kudos to you, man. That's awesome. That's very cool.
Doing a lot of this stuff, I ask myself on a regular basis, like, what in the hell am I doing? I could ditch all this, and I could go hide, and I could do this, and I could do that, and then
Mm-hmm.
it every time my mind goes through that, somebody calls up and says, "Man, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be alive."
See, there you
And it's
go.
just like, okay,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
keep going,
Th-
keep going.
this mission fills your bucket. It gives you
Yeah,
purpose. Yeah, that's
yeah,
huge.
purpose exactly.
Yeah.
And I think with our, especially with I've noticed that a lot of I think it's predominant in men, but women are also affected. Like if they come to a transition period in their life, if the military career is ending or retirement, you see the death go up pretty high.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And now they've got this idle time. The thought life starts going,
Uh-huh.
and if they don't have purpose in life, it's over.
Right.
And so it's about trying to bring that purpose in, for myself and for others. And that's where we're seeing a lot of success stories, because we got all kinds of a firefighter that if she fell down inside of a puka, a hole,
Oh, okay.
and if she would have been there a half minute more, she would have been burned alive.
Oh, wow.
Her lower torso. This happened like 2 years, 3 years ago, and she's still going through rehab.
Oof, jeez.
Goodness.
But she wanted to call it quits, and she and I built this relationship, and she's kind of living somewhat of a fairy tale story, but she has to find that purpose. And
Yeah.
we've networked, and now her husband, who happens to be in the mental health field, she volunteers for his clinic.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
And yeah, so she's getting that. But there's a lot of stories like that where if it's gone, it's like who am I?
Exactly.
It's I was this, and it's like, no, you weren't. That's
Hmm.
what you did,
Right.
and it's uncomfortable to
It
begin
is.
with.
It is. Yeah. But it's good to bring that up and kind of attack that, because that is what a lot of people mask, So you might as well bring it to the surface, attack it, get over it, and then become whatever you're meant to be. Are you enjoying these stories of veterans totally rocking it with sobriety? Here at This Sober Vet podcast, we want to keep bringing these warriors' tales of triumphs to you. However, we need your help to make that happen. We're in need of sponsors for This Sober Vet podcast. That's right, now's the time to show your support, advertise your brand, or just make a monetary donation. It's easy. Just go to our website, www.thissobervet.com. To become a sponsor, fill out the form on our contact page. To donate, just click on Support the Mission. Let's keep shining a light for those still in the dark. So how many years are you sober? I don't think you said.
Coming up on 29.
Woo, that's
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
Good job, dude.
Yeah,
29 years, about to hit 30. That's crazy. Wow.
yeah,
Outstanding.
yeah. It's a trip.
Yeah. Now, you don't have the urge anymore, do you, after all this time to drink or anything?
There are occasions.
Are there still? Okay.
Yeah, it's not very often, but there are occasions where you can see a social setting where someone's lifting up that beer or something like that, and it's like, oh,
Hmm.
that looks good. And it's not so much the beer drinking, it's the social setting.
Right. Gotcha.
Mhm.
And I remember when I moved back to the islands, I had like 8 years of sobriety, and I'm cruising by a park, and they're out there having a barbecue and they're drinking. I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that.
Hmm.
And it's just like, dude, you can go have the barbecue. You don't have to have the alcohol. Like, duh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Just
But
keep
it's just
going.
like, yeah, I was thinking, oh, you have to have this in order to do that, and which is
Hmm.
totally untrue.
100%. And I didn't believe that either, because when I was drinking, I thought I needed that in order to perform, to have fun, to do whatever, to be accepted. And yeah, it's a total lie. It's a
Yeah,
total
we
lie.
can be just as stupid.
Yeah, without it. Exactly. Right. And you could actually remember everything that happened. It's a bonus. So I always like to ask, if there's someone listening right now who's kind of on the fence, has tried sobriety before, it doesn't really work for them, maybe they're a Navy vet and they could relate to you and your story. If there's one thing of encouragement that you could tell that person, what would you say?
One of my big arguments for people that don't want to be sober, it's like, well, why don't you try it for a month? And if you don't like it, go back to what you were doing.
Yeah, you could always go back, right?
Uh-huh.
Right. And it's like, we won't give it the chance. We keep we put that fear, and most of us are so proud. Oh, I'm not afraid of nothing. And the truth is, we're afraid of everything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But it's like, why is sobriety so scary? And it comes down to like dealing with with our own shit. I'd much rather point the finger and not concentrate on the three pointing back at me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's worth a shot. It's like, give it 30 days, honest 30 days. If there's, go to the meetings, find the other people that are sober, take advice, follow them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like it, your misery can be refunded.
True. Right.
Yeah.
That's actually that's a really good point. And it's crazy because whatever you fear, once you get over that, the freedom on this side is invaluable. Like I can't even describe how free I feel. I haven't had a hangover in 3 years. My family loves me. My health is good. My money's good. Like just everything is finally fallen into place like it should because I'm doing the right things. And it is such a good feeling. Like I wake up to this day every morning. First thing I do is thank God for being sober. So
Right.
first thought in my head is like, oh my God, thank God I have my health, I have my family, I have my sobriety. Like I'm just so grateful, and that's changed my life, dude. I have a new passion for life, you know?
Yeah, and even during the tough times,
Yes,
it's our literature says that there's going to be trials and low spots ahead, and that's a
absolutely.
promise that doesn't get quoted very often.
Hmm.
And I'm living proof. I've went through, um, lost two houses, or I shouldn't say lost. Uh, they were removed from me in sobriety,
Mm.
Okay.
and I also had to file bankruptcy in sobriety.
Mm.
Um, and there was also a point where, shit, I remember one month I made $16,000 in a month, all legitimate. And it's
Hmm.
just like all these balanced highs and lows, and it's being able to get through them without making the ultimate sacrifice. And for
Yes.
me, to drink is to die, because I don't think I got another sobering up. But we're also coming across people that they're desperate for a solution, and they're not necessarily an addict or an alcoholic. And it'd be so much easier if they were.
Mhm.
And it's helping them to latch onto these principles that we found, so they can live a proper life. It's I've got a friend that he could drink half a beer and leave it there, and
Oh
that's
wow.
to this day it still drives me nuts.
That
That's
would
like
drive me
alcohol
nuts
abuse. You
too.
don't
Yeah.
do that.
Exactly. Wow.
So he's obviously not an alcoholic, and so we have to go back and look at things that warped our minds to begin with.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And one of the stories I like to share is, like, when I was 10 years old, we were living up in Mare Island, up in the San Francisco area at the sub base there. And I was 10 years old, and that's when the Beirut bombing happened.
Oh wow.
And one of my close friends, his father was a Marine, and we had to wait 3 days for him to find out if his dad was still alive.
Oh
Ah.
jeez.
And you think about these are 10-year-olds. These are our conversation points,
Hmm.
wondering if our dad's alive. Okay, now my dad is going to have to go on the submarine. He's got to go somewhere undisclosed. And so we have these trauma things that seem normal to us
Hmm.
because of where we live and how we're being raised, but they definitely affect us later on in life. And it's like, okay, now let's remove the drugs and alcohol, and what are some of these transition points in our life that kind of warped our thinking?
Right. Right.
And let's go back and deal with that. And another story that I love to share: one of our former presidents of MRF, he was a retired state trooper from Alaska. And if you've dealt with any law enforcement, they really get this channel view. It's
Yeah.
legal, illegal. That's it, black or white.
Exactly. Right.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
when he came to our group, he said, "Look, Micah, if you need someone to go up and put their hand on somebody's shoulder and say it's going to be okay, I'm not that guy. I'm just black and white, but he has other great assets, and it's like, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that." And one day we're out on the fishing boat, and I've got him and a combat veteran, and they're both wearing shorts. And this combat veteran looks over at his legs and says, "Dude, those look like shrapnel wounds." And this police officer says they are. He goes, "Wait a minute, I thought you were a cop."
Right.
He goes, "Yeah, but they booby trap everything up in Alaska. I've been blowing up this and that." And then the combat veterans, "Oh, I got blown up here and I got blown up
Ah.
there." And they're
Hmm.
having this dialogue of getting blown up and what was used and all this stuff. At the end of that topic, they said, I've never shared this with anybody. And then they went into how many times you've been stabbed, and I've never shared this with anybody, and how many
Wow.
times, and I've never shared this with
That
anybody.
is
Hmm.
good.
So that same state trooper, about 2 weeks later, we've got a combat veteran that is in trauma. He's in crisis mode, and this state trooper goes up to him, puts his arm around him, and says, "Dude, it'll be okay. You're with the right people."
Wow, that's
And the
big.
trooper,
Yeah.
he looks at me like, "What in the hell's going on?" So
What'd
I'm
you do to
watching
me?
him become human again.
Yeah, that's
And it was
awesome.
just like, wow, this is
Nice.
so cool. And I don't know, it seems like on the boats that happens more than ever. My name is Micah Gauthier, and that's how I became this sober vet.